We are reading today from the book of Matthew, starting in chapter 5 and reading verses 21 through 26. You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, "Do not murder. And anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to his brother Raka is answerable to the Sanhedrin. But anyone who says, you fool, will be danger of the fire of hell. Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to your brother, then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still with him on the way, or he may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officers, and you may be thrown into prison. I tell you the truth, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny."
How is everyone? Awesome. Good deal. It's good to see all of you all here today. God has been good. He's given us another chance to be here, and so we thank God for your presence in this place today. If you're visiting with us, we thank you for being here today. We want you to know that your presence is everything. It means everything to me. It means everything to us. We appreciate all of you that are visiting. And then if you're here and you're just a part of the family, thank you for being here. We don't thank each other enough for giving each other an opportunity to edify one another and build each other up. And this is what Sunday is. We give God praise, and then after the fact, we build each other up. That's what this is all about. And so we thank you for being here and giving us an opportunity to build you up. Matthew chapter 5, as it was read into your hearing, I hope and pray that you're not tired of Matthew 5 yet. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that you get something from this every time we come together so that you can be better than you were when you walked through the door. All right? I owe y'all some time. And I was coerced into telling, no, I'm just joking. I owe you some time. And so this morning we set up last week just so that we can deal with this week. Is that all right? Last week was a long setup, but I pray that the setup was good so that we can actually go through what we're getting ready to deal with, and everybody will be on the same page. Verse 21. Jesus now has dealt with the scribes and the Pharisees, and he told the multitude and disciples, "Except your righteousness surpasses this," he says, "you can't enter the kingdom of heaven." And the one thing that the scribes and the Pharisees had an issue with is the fact that their understanding of law was so surface that they always missed the meaning. Every time. It made no difference what it was they were dealing with. They wanted to be so surface so that they could count themselves so righteous. And Jesus says, unless you understand the real purpose of this, I don't care how surface you want to be, you still are going to have an issue. So verse number 21, he told them, he says, you've heard that the ancients were told. He says, your forefathers were told, you shall not commit murder. That's a part of Exodus 20. And whoever commits murder shall be liable of the covenant. And so I just want to start off by telling you that Jesus now goes back to what they know and deals with what they know. This is common knowledge to them. They understand what's happening. They understand what was given to their forefathers. They understand exactly what the forefathers were told, but they have basically helped God out by saying, God, we know that you gave this law, but we're going to put it at such a surface level that we want to be held. We want to be held to a system that is so surface that nobody can break it. So here they are. They have an understanding of what Jesus is dealing with. And so Jesus is providing for them a classic case of how to interpret the law. Everybody needs to understand what thus saith the Lord. And you ought not ever want to insert your own opinion into God's truth. Does that make sense? So here it is. Jesus now says, let me give you a study. I'm going to give you a case study of how to interpret the law. The Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes, what they didn't understand is that they needed help interpreting law. In essence, I would tell you that they needed a lawyer, is what they needed. So Jesus shows up and he says, I am that. Y'all remember Moses? He says, well, who do I tell Pharaoh that sent me? He says, I am that I am, meaning whatever he needs me to be, I am. Jesus says, I'm the doctor, I'm the lawyer, I am the physician, I'm the counselor, I'm the psychological individual, I am the the person that provides the counseling. He says, whatever it is that I need to be in the moment, that's what I'm going to be. And right now, Jesus says that the Pharisees need a lawyer. So he says, so let me help them. Here's some history. The Pharisees took Exodus 20 and taught the command against murder as it referred to just taking somebody's life. But verse 22, this is where the meat of the preaching is, and I'm going to leave you all alone. He says, but I say to you, this is Jesus. He says, I understand what you think you know, but let me tell you what this really means. He says, but I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court. The rest of that text says, and whoever says to his brother, you good for nothing, shall be guilty before the Supreme Court. And whoever says, you fools, shall be guilty enough to go into the fiery hell. Now, I want to deal with the first part of this. He says, but I'm telling you that everybody who's angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court. I need us to understand that Jesus condemns murder. Understand that. He's not taking that part away from it. He condemns murder. But what I need everyone in here that wants to receive this, I need you to receive this. It takes a step further than surface. Jesus, verse 22 says that harboring wrath in your heart is also sinful and deserving of the same punishment. Everybody thought, I ain't never murdered nobody before, so I must be good. Jesus says, well, no, that's not the case, because in order for you to murder somebody, there has to be something in front of murder, because we don't just go out and just shoot somebody for no reason. Something has to be brewing within you in order for you to murder someone. And Jesus says, what is brewing in you is anger. And he says, that is also sinful. So you say, Jeremy, wait a minute. That ain't what Paul said. I'm going to get to what Paul said in just a second. All right. So watch this. Jesus uses the word angry. And I love that he uses it because it's the Greek word orgizo, which refers to brooding bitterness against a brother or a sister, which could be a fellow believer. And so I need you to understand that anger is a dangerous emotion that always threatens to get out of control. I need us to understand that today. That if you are going to be angry, Paul says, be angry, but sin not. Then he goes on to say, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Y'all remember that? We like that phrase, be angry, but we don't like the other side of it, but sin not. Okay, maybe I was just the only one. At one point in time, I loved that text, be angry. And that was me all day. I ain't care what the rest of it said. It was just be angry. And so I had every right in my mind when somebody did me wrong, when somebody said something to me I didn't like. I remember Ephesians 4, be angry. But then Paul says, but sin not. Y'all remember that? Then he said, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Paul says it's okay to be angry, but you need to reconcile sooner rather than later. Everybody in here, I want you to receive that. He says reconciliation is greater than just being angry. And if I can help somebody in here today that is going through those angry spells, anger takes you nowhere. How do you know that? Because anger keeps us from developing a spirit that is pleasing to God. Understand that. I don't want you to walk out of here with any other thought process other than that you cannot be angry and still believe that you can develop a spirit that's pleasing to God. Doesn't work. Because anger and God don't even belong in the same stratosphere, because of how damaging anger can be. How do you know this, Jeremy? Because Jesus, as I told you, he puts anger and murder in the same category. And so what Jesus does is that he's teaching us that intention is a significant part of wrongdoing. That's why it starts in the heart. Because whatever your intention is, your intention can be one thing, but your action looks like another thing. And because you did the right thing, you think that God accepts the right thing because of what you did. But you have to understand that God cannot accept a right action with a bad heart. Receive that. He can't accept right action when your heart is jacked up. He says, I need to see what your intention is before I see the action of what you did. Here's the thing. You can say the right thing and still be wrong. How is that? Because your intent can be, I'm only saying this so that they'll leave me alone. Anybody ever been there before? I got you. Have you, okay, I'm gonna tell on myself real quick, all right? Sometimes I understand how my wife works. I get it, I just understand it. And sometimes it's just better to just agree so that everything will smooth itself right on over. I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes it's just better to be quiet and agree than to say something and then it just riles her up. But Jesus says you need to watch your intention, because your intention may be that you just don't want to fool with this. And Jesus says it's not about what you don't want to. In essence, if it's truth, you got to deal with it. Got to deal with it. And so, I'm sorry that I'm gonna have to say this too, but every excuse you make ain't always a good one. How do you know this? Because your excuse can attempt to cover your action, but it can never cover your intention. I need us to receive that. Your excuse only covers the action, but it never can cover your intention. Your intent will always be the overall thing that says whether your action was good or bad. So that's why we make excuses. We make excuses to cover what we did, but notice how we never make excuses about what was really in our heart. Oh, okay, y'all missed that. Or maybe you got it and it hurt. I don't know which one it was, but it hurt me this week, so I felt like I needed to give that to you. So here's the thing. At some point in time, you have to understand that God wants the intent before you act. He wants the intent before you open your mouth. And here's the Mesa moment that I need everybody to receive today, is that when anger is righteous, this is Paul, when anger is righteous, you good. But when anger is not righteous, guess what it does? It destructs. Are y'all receiving that? It destructs. And when anger is not righteous, it cannot turn out good at all. It won't. So if you say to yourself, I don't know why I'm angry, I'm just angry. Well, when you do those type of things, when you just act and don't even know why you're acting, I need you to understand that your anger has the power to destroy you and destroy the person that you are directing it toward. That's how powerful anger is. It will hurt you. And it will hurt the person that it's directed toward. And if you walk around like an angry person, it will hurt even the people that are around you. Everybody has heard the saying, hurt people hurt people. Angry people hurt people. People that don't know why they are angry hurt people. And Jesus is saying, I need you to realize that it's not just about taking somebody's life, but it's about the buildup. He says, when you are angry, you have the potential to hurt other people that didn't even deserve that. Think about it. The things that happen at work that get us all riled up, if we're not careful, we'll bring that home. And we'll lay it at our family's feet and ask them to deal with this. But Jesus says you need to, first of all, get your anger in check, because everybody is not responsible for what happened to you at work. Are y'all seeing that? So here's the thing. There is an appropriate way to express anger. I'm going to give you some steps of how to express this. There is an appropriate way of how to express anger, but there are steps into understanding how to appropriately express your anger. So everybody, think like you're at the counselor's office. Put your feet up and let's go to work. Here we go. The first thing, before you express your anger, it is appropriate to examine why. Key term, why you are, purpose clause, why you are angry in the first place. Some of us, we angry, and when we finally get asked the question, why are you angry? You can't even give a viable reason as to why you're angry, because a lot of us are walking around angry and don't know why. We're just angry. And some of us, honestly, if I'm honest with you, our anger stems from a trauma that we've experienced, whether as adults or as children, that we have refused to let go. To where you go years of your life feeling a certain type of way, and when confronted with the way that you feel, you don't have a good reason as to why you feel that way in the first place. And so the first thing that you need to do before you ever express anger is to figure out, why am I angry in the first place? Why? The second thing that you need to understand is that when you are angry, sometimes you need God and others to help you deal with your anger. So let me give it to you real quick. If you don't know why you're angry, sometimes you will run off the people that are supposed to help you deal with your anger. That's what you'll do. You'll run them off. Why? Because you don't know that you need them, because you still don't know why you are angry. If I'm honest with you, there was a certain point in my life where everything around me, I wanted it to leave me alone. I just wanted it to leave me alone. Just get away from, I just don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't feel like I have to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. But the problem is that I didn't want to deal with it because I didn't really understand what I was wanting to deal with. And so I'm pushing everybody away because I don't know how to deal with what I need to deal with, and I don't even know what I need to deal with, but I'm just pushing everybody away. And the people that I was pushing away are the very same people that when I came to grasp with what I needed to deal with were the people that I needed to help me through what I was going to go through. So let me tell you, your anger, if not put in check, can actually destroy your help that will make you be better. And everybody's prayer every night is, Lord, I just want to be better. Well, let me tell you, if you want to be better, stop running off the people that are going to help you. Here's the third thing. Inappropriate expectations. Everybody is guilty of this. Everybody is guilty of inappropriate expectations because inappropriate expectations often lead to anger. I thought that they were going to be this way, and I thought they were going to be like this, and I thought that I was with this person, and I thought I got married to this person, and I thought that I was going to be this way because they told me. A lot of people walk around in life with an inappropriate expectation of self and other people. So think about it. When you don't get your way, it often leads to anger. I'm angry because I thought this. I assumed this. I thought we were here. I thought we were there. I thought we were past this. And inappropriate expectations are oftentimes the reason why you are angry, because you feel like that the other person should have changed. But let me tell you, sometimes you need to rethink what you expect. Oh, that's a hard one, because I like what I expect. I really do. I like what I like. I like what I expect. But when you're dealing with anger, you have to rethink what you expect so that the person can't keep pushing you to the limit. Everybody got a limit in here. We all have a limit. And the question is that will you allow the limit to be exceeded because of your expectation? I guarantee you, if you just dial back your expectation, you probably will be in a better, let me help you. Number 4, here we go. You cannot assume. I got 70 of y'all right there. You cannot assume. Ain't we bad at, we're really bad at that. We just assume you cannot assume that anger will go away on its own. 3 things. Anger has to be directed. Anger has to be controlled. Anger has to be resolved. There's no way around that. Directed, controlled, and resolved. If you do not have it directed, if you ain't got it under control, if you don't have it resolved, you are always going to struggle with anger. So Jesus says, therefore, if you are presenting an offering at the altar, and there you remember that your brother has something against you. What is he doing? He's now creating practical application. He says, I gave you the law and what it really means. Now let me show you how to put this into practice. What he says, if you're presenting an offering at the altar and there you remember a brother or sister has something against you, which would suggest to you that the Jews, the people that he's dealing with, would customarily bring gifts of sacrifice into the temple of Jerusalem. This is what they would do. And Jesus uses the word remember because when you come to the temple, when you come to worship, you are supposed to come with pure hearts that are not hindered by broken relationships. Watch this, that you have the power to mend. Think about it, verse 23, let me read it to you again. Therefore, if you're presenting an offering at the altar and there you remember that your brother or sister has something against you. When you come to worship God, your heart should be pure. Your heart should be open to and ready to receive and to give praise and receive the word. But sometimes it's hard to receive the word when you walk in here knowing that somebody got something against you, that you have the power to mend. He says, when you come in here, when they went to the temple, when we come into worship, you ought to come in here free because you've done everything you can to get your heart right. So here's the thing. This verse, 23, does not focus on your anger, but it's focused on the anger of someone else that they feel toward you. Can I tell you something? If you have the power to mend relationships, not only are you responsible for your anger, but you are responsible for somebody else's anger that has something against you. Because what are we? We are peacemakers. Y'all remember that? Y'all see how that all ties together? If you are a peacemaker, if you are a person who is merciful because you have received mercy, then you are wanting somebody else to have a pure heart when it comes to you, because their anger toward you should actually affect you. So think about it. If somebody has something against you, and you know they have something against you, Jesus suggests that you need to go and fix that. Verse 24, that's what he tells them. Leave your offering there. He says, leave your offering there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother and then come and present your offering. If somebody has something against you and you know they have something against you, Jesus says you need to fix that. But let me take you a step further. Stop waiting on them to come to you. Because that's what we typically do. We are reactionary people. We wait for people to come to us, but that's not the way that this should work. He says, you go to them and fix this. Fix it. Why, Jeremy? Because love for God and fellow believers, hear me when I tell you this, love for God and fellow believers is more important than anything that the Jews could bring to the altar. It's more than anything. It's more than anything. How do you know? Because in 1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse number 22, the Bible tells you to obey is better than sacrifice. Let me apply this to us in our context real quick. I need us to understand that you can come in here and feel like that you are giving God righteous praise and you're giving God the best that you have. But let me tell you something. If you don't have love for God and for your fellow believers, your righteous praise really goes to the ceiling and drops right back down again. Why, Jeremy? Because you know that somebody has an issue, and yet you, instead of you trying to fix the issue, you say, I'll wait for them to come to me. And that ain't what Jesus wants. Righteous praise don't fix problems with people. Are y'all hearing that? You can come to worship all day long if you like. That does not fix problems with people. Just because you think you're right. Because hear me, it's better to obey, love, and fix than to be the most righteous one in the pew. You can try to be the most righteous individual in the pew and got all your people problems surrounding you, but you say, I'm going to wait for them because I know I'm right. Can I tell you something? Being right should not be bigger than showing the love of God. Being right should never be bigger than that. It should never be bigger than that. Verse 25, he says, make friends quickly. Y'all see the correlation yet? Make friends quickly. Because he says in verse number 24, he says, look, I need you to go and fix it, then come back. Verse 25, make friends quickly with your opponent at law. Jesus recommends his followers to take immediate action to either reconcile or settle matters quickly in the best way. Because here it is, under Roman law, the plaintiff went with the defendant to court, is what he would do. And on the way to court, they could settle matters however they wanted to. But if you were handed over to the judge, and then the judge found you guilty, he would hand you over to the officer, and he would throw you into prison. And so in our context, what we need to understand, and what we can pull out of this is very simple. We should not let disputes linger. Because eventually, the dispute that lingers is the dispute that when it's finally trying to be reconciled years later, nobody really knows what the original dispute is all about. Disputes are never good when they linger. They're never good when they linger. Fix it before it begins to linger. So here's some godly advice for you. It's always best to resolve differences with our enemies before our anger causes more trouble. That's the best godly advice that I can give you, is that if you're going to resolve your differences so that your anger and the person who has an ought with you before their anger gets the best of them. Because let me tell you something. When anger gets out of control, you don't want to be in that room with that individual. How do you know that? Because, okay, she'll forgive me later. I just want to make this practical so that y'all can really, really receive this. My wife is the sweetest woman I know. Sweetest woman I know. Let me preface it again. She's the sweetest woman I know. Did I say that 3 times? I think I did. One for the father. Okay, I got it. But what I've learned is you don't want to take her there. The smile and the, hey, how are you? You know, that's authentic. But everybody has that, but you don't want to take them there. Everybody got that side to them. Because when you do, the smile goes away, the joy goes away, and it's like, I can't even describe to you what it's like. You just don't want to see that side of people. You just don't want to see that. And let me tell you, everybody has that side to them. I have that side to me. And I know everybody in here has it. You just don't. So that's why Jesus tells us, why Paul tells us, don't let anger get out of control. Keep it in. Not keep it in, but keep a control of it so that you can be productive in your reconciliation. When your anger is under control, you can be productive in reconciliation. When anger is out of control, reconciliation is not possible. It's not possible. Because you got to have 2 people who are willing to talk in order to reconcile. And if anger is out of control, you don't have 2 people who are willing to talk. You have 2 people who are willing to talk at each other. And when is the last time talking at each other solved anything? When I talk at you, I never hear you. When I talk with you, I hear you, I comprehend before I respond. Let me tell you, this is the last thing I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna leave this alone. And it's very simple. Your anger must be resolved. And if you have anger with someone in life today, it needs to be resolved. God cannot accept an angry spirit in worship. He can't accept that. That's why Jesus says, fix it so that God can start receiving you again. If you're here in this place today, you need prayer about this anger thing. Can we pray for you? Can we pray for you? We want to pray for you. This anger thing is a big deal. We want to pray for you. If you're here in this place today and you have not given Jesus your life, today is a good day to do it. Say, I'm going to leave. Just because you give your life to Jesus doesn't mean that your emotions are going to go away. No, they're still going to be there, but Jesus can help you control that. Will you come? Faith in Jesus, turning your life around, going down in water in obedience to him. That's how you receive him. Will you come today? We're going to sing the song of encouragement. In moments like these, will you stand? And let's sing.
In moments like these, I sing out a song.